Hey everybody, my name is Dan. I'm a veterinarian and thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to talk about roundworms in the dog. And roundworms are one of those really common GI or intestinal parasites. They're nematodes and they are really common, guys, in your puppies. And I bring this up today because I had a litter of puppies come in the other day, and really beautiful shepherd puppies. There's like 7 of them, and they're about 4 weeks old and we're deworming them. And sometimes that can be confusing because we're deworming these puppies that have never been anywhere. They've never been anywhere. They came in briefly to see me. I gave some oxytocin to get them out of mommy because she was having a hard time, and she popped them right out and we're good now. But these puppies haven't been anywhere. So why are we giving them dewormers? It's because roundworms are, I believe, they're the most common GI parasite we see in doggies, and they are easily spread fecal oral. So when a doggy sniffs some poop or eats some poop, gross, or they get it on their feet and they lick it, whatever, it's all fecal oral contamination. However, because of puppies, mommy dog can spread these nematodes or these roundworms that are laying dormant in their body, and they can be spread to the puppies in utero. So when they're developing, mommy dog is just handing them out when they're in the uterus and they can't stop it. And also, mommy dog hands out these pesky roundworms in the mammary milk. And when mommy dog is nursing these puppies, these worms are just slithering through into the puppy dogs via the mammary milk. So we have these puppies, and they've had been exposed to nothing fecal oral, but mommy dog is handing off these worms to them. That is why puppies, I see roundworms in all ages and all breeds of dogs. Roundworms are incredibly common in puppies. I see roundworms in puppies. They are overrepresented just because mommy dog is giving them the worms when they are, again, in utero and in the mammary milk. So these puppies came in and they looked really good. We looked them over, and we did deworming with some pyrantel. I like pyrantel as just a routine dewormer. I like to deworm at least twice and 3 weeks apart. I also believe a fecal is best practice. I know you're deworming against them, but you want to do a fecal, guys, to make sure you're not missing anything. You're not missing any giardia, coccidia, any other worm like whips, hooks, tapes, all those fun worms. The parental should cover your roundworms. However, I've had cases where it hasn't done enough, and maybe we'll have to do something different, like add in some panicure or do some other dewormer to help them along. The reason why we check a fecal is we don't always see the worms. Some people, guys, will be like, I see these white worms in my dog's poop or in their butt. They pull the tail up and they see these white worms. I believe they look like chow mein. It's up to you, however you want to describe them, but they're not like all soft and squishy like your earthworms. They are definitely a bit more rigid in appearance. With that being said, we don't always see them. Usually what's happening is they're being spread with the eggs microscopically. And roundworm eggs, like any parasite egg, is very common under the microscope. Very commonly seen, very easy to understand what it is. Literally, we have a parasitology class in vet school, and we just look at microscopes, and we look through the microscopes at eggs many hours a day to diagnose what the animal has. And goats have their own, and sheep have some, and horses have some, and dogs and cats have their own worms. And the roundworm is incredibly common in doggies. What a veterinarian does is we used to do these fecal floats in-house, literally some sugar solution and a little bit of poop, and let it float for a while on a microscope slide, and then put it under the microscope and look at it. And then you can see the eggs in there microscopically if they are there, and then you can diagnose a dog with roundworms and you can treat it appropriately. We tend to send it off to labs now. That can be kind of sticky and messy, and it's when you think about a fecal exam being done, it's not negative or positive. It's nothing observed. So the better, the more skilled lab technician you have who's looking at these slides, the better chance you're going to have to diagnose it. That's where I like to send. We send ours off to IDEX Labs. I think they do a great job. This is not a plug for them. They just do a really good job. We take a bunch. We have like, oh guys, we have like 20, 30 fecals a day that go into a box. I mean, they have their own containers and then they're bagged as well. And then outside of those bags, they go in a box and they all go off. And then magically the next day, we get a list of all the no parasites observed, which are negative. And we also get a list of all the dogs that have worms. And then we call owners and say, your dog has worms. Good news is we already get the parental. You're good, you're safe, and we should recheck your fecal in 3 weeks. When you think of parasites, I tend to think of parasites in 3-week blocks. So we deworm in 3-week blocks and we recheck fecal every 3 weeks. It's a good way to know if you actually fixed the problem or if it's still there. Also, guys, roundworms can definitely be spread to humans. Usually it's fecal oral contamination. You think how's that possible? No joke, guys. Like dogs can be a little bit dirty sometimes, especially puppies. They can get stool or poop on their fur. And the most important thing you can do is good hand washing. What I like is fecal checks, check for any parasites, deworming with a negative or a positive, parasites observed or not observed. I don't care. We're still deworming. And then really good hand washing and just really good husbandry of the dog or the puppy to make sure that they're as clean as possible when they're in the house. I know a lot of you have probably, looked this stuff up, like roundworms in people. With adults, they can definitely spread to parts of the body that aren't as serious. With children, there has been a couple cases, more than a couple, where it spread to really bad places like the eye. Of course, good hand washing for children is paramount with puppies and any dog that does not have a fecal that's confirmed negative and hasn't been dewormed. Good hand washing, period, is important, guys, but being very diligent, especially with children, to making sure they wash their hands after playing with a doggy, especially if you don't know that dog. I am very picky about my kids. With that being said, guys, remember, a lot of your heartworm preventative drugs, like your heart guards, your Simparica, your NexGard Plus stuff, all of that stuff does carry heartworm. Actually, guys, I just messed that up. Heart guard and NexGard is a flea tick product that heart guard carries. But nonetheless, your heart guard, your Simparica, and there's so many more, guys. I don't want to miss anybody, but don't give me a hard time if I missed yours. But with that being said, most of them do a pretty good job at treating roundworms too. If you look at your heart guard, you're going to see there's parental in it. And a lot of the medicines as well are just really good dewormers as well. With that being said, guys, I hope that's super helpful. I hope that educates you on why your veterinarian wants a fecal done. And I hope you guys just really go in there and understand why they want fecals, why they want to deworm. And remember, it's 3 weeks in most cases when you want to redo fecals and redo deworming if you had a fecal that failed. As always, guys, my name is Dan. I'm a veterinarian. Thanks for watching. If you have any topics, let me know.